Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you how to replace the rear lower ball joint on a Honda S2000. Ball joints are not a common wear item on the Honda S2000, but they can wear out for a few reasons. If you're looking to replace just the ball joint, you'll soon find out that Honda won't sell you one. But some clever people have discovered that you can use the front ball joint from an old Honda Accord if you do want an OEM ball joint. I decided to pick up these Moog ball joints for $20 a piece on Amazon. Other than new ball joints, you will also need some tools that you may not already have. The first tool that you're going to need is a Honda lower ball joint adapter kit. This kit has a sleeve that is specifically designed to fit on Honda wheel knuckles, where the ball joint area is not completely level. Another thing you're going to need is a generic ball joint press kit. This kit can be loaned out from any auto parts store for free. I've only been able to find the Honda lower ball joint adapter kit at O'Reilly's though. Regardless, I'll have links for all this down in the description box down below. Before we proceed, I'd just like to say that there are several ways the ball joint can be replaced, but I believe this is a method that is the least invasive and requires the least removal of parts. If you know what you're doing, you can just completely remove the knuckle and use a hydraulic press. The first thing you're going to want to do is get the rear of the car on jack stands and remove the rear wheels. Once the wheels are removed, you're going to want to use a 10mm socket to remove the bolt securing the wheel speed sensor to the wheel knuckle. Once the bolt is removed, you can pull out the wheel speed sensor and hang it off to the side. Now you want to work on popping the lower ball joint out. Use a set of pliers to bend and remove the cotter pin. Then use a 17mm socket with a ratchet to remove the castle nut. Once the castle nut is removed, I highly recommend threading a regular hex nut onto the end of the ball joint stud in order to prevent damage to the threads when using the ball joint separator tool. Once you're ready, insert the ball joint separator into the ball joint and use it to separate the ball joint. Once separated, remove the hex nut, and at this point the ball joint should be loose and you should be able to lift it out of the lower control arm. If you've got aftermarket ball joints like me, it will probably have a snap ring securing it in place. If you do, use a set of snap ring pliers to remove the snap ring from the underside. You can use a flathead screwdriver to help pry the snap ring away from the ball joint as well. At this point you're ready to press out the old ball joint. Carefully place the Honda ball joint adapter sleeve on top of the ball joint and then mount the C-frame part of the ball joint press kit onto it. Then thread the large screw through the bottom of the C-frame until it meets the ball joint stud. If you have the space, you can use an impact gun to continue tightening the screw. Otherwise, you may need to use a breaker bar in order to press the ball joint out. As you make progress, the ball joint will slowly raise up into the Honda ball joint adapter sleeve until it is broken free. Once it breaks free, you can remove the ball joint press and pull the ball joint out of the wheel knuckle. Insert the new ball joint into the wheel knuckle and then find a sleeve from the ball joint press kit that fits underneath the ball joint. I use a sleeve and an adapter on the bottom as well as a small adapter on top. Mount the C-frame and then thread the large screw from above. If you have the space, you can use an impact gun to continue tightening the screw. Otherwise, you may need to use a breaker bar in order to press the ball joint in. Keep tightening the screw until you feel increasing resistance, which means that the ball joint is fully pressed in. Then remove the ball joint press kit. If you've installed an aftermarket ball joint like me, you'll likely need to install a snap ring to secure it in place. Use a set of snap ring pliers to expand the snap ring until you can place it right underneath the wheel knuckle. Then you can use a flathead screwdriver to push the snap ring until they are fully seated into the ball joint groove. The snap ring should snap into place to confirm that they are fully seated. Now the ball joint is ready to be bolted up. Lift the wheel knuckle and ball joint and lower it into the lower control arm. Thread the new castle nut onto the ball joint stud and use the appropriate socket to tighten the castle nut. The torque spec for this castle nut is 51 to 58 foot-pounds, so just torque the nut to 51 foot-pounds and increase the torque until you can fit a cotter pin through the castle nut. Then install a cotter pin. Then use a 10mm socket to reinstall the bolt, securing the wheel speed sensor to the wheel knuckle. Torque it to 7.2 foot-pounds. At this point, you can reinstall the rear wheels and lower the car back down to the ground. If you found this video helpful, give this video a thumbs up. Otherwise, if you're located in the Bay Area and looking to have some work done in your car, feel free to DM me on Instagram.